was born in 1968, June 8. He hails from the Upper West region. He used to be secretary to the IGP. Presently, he represents the people of the Wa West constituency. He's a security expert as well. And he's here in flesh and blood. The Honorable Peter Lanchene Toobu is my guest. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
I am greater than Accra. Good to see
you face to face.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
I've followed you for many days, and I think I'm excited to be sitting before you today as we think about Ghana.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. I hope Wa West is great.
Wa West, the people of Wa West are always fantastic. They know what they're doing, and I think that I'm always proud of them. Anytime I'm home, I feel being home, and I feel remaining home. But I have to come back to Accra to come and work for them.
Policeman, now politician, the switch. How easy was it?
Well, let me take this opportunity to say good morning to our cherished listeners and those who are on Facebook and YouTube who are watching us. Right. I want to salute everybody. It's a beautiful day as we come together to think about Mother Ghana, the only beautiful country that we have for ourselves. There is nowhere better than Ghana as long as we remain Ghanaians. I want to greet the people of Wa West who've made me a member of parliament. So that is why normally I don't want the name Honorable Peter Lanchene Toobu. I want to be called Peter Lanchene Toobu, Honorable Member of Parliament for Wa West. The title is for the people of Wa West.
I see.
And they can decide to take it away anytime they want to.
That's right.
It's just to go and serve them.
That's right.
So everybody in Wa West who's listening to me, I greet all of them, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Once a police officer, always a police officer. But I've switched into politics because I was requested by my family and the people of Wa West to come home and provide some level of leadership, having the fact that the former MP, Honorable Joseph Village, my senior brother, he's done his best from 1984, the first regional secretary when Upper West was created, and he's been in this game for many years. I mean, he's somebody that we respect as the father of the party in the region. So I took up the challenge to go home, respond to this call, to be able to provide some new energy to ensure that Wa West progresses to another level. Switching to politics was quite interesting. And the switch is quite strange. People wonder how can you move away from a position that constitutionally when you are not allowed to do partisan politics.
That's right.
Straight away into hot partisan politics.
That's right.
How did you manage? I said, well, it's just like dropping a hot stone into water. You will hear the sound, but at the end of the day, the temperature of the stone will definitely drop because the water is cold. I went home in response to the people of Wa West.
Right.
And they voted for me massively. I became the member of parliament for Wa West. And I'm trying to learn politics, partisan politics. I'm trying to learn deeper politics. And I'm trying to see what is the impact of politics on the development of the people of Wa West. For me, when I look at myself, I think that I went into parliament as a technocrat. I have a security background. And parliament is gradually becoming a place of experts. If you get into parliament without any solid background, sometimes you find yourself wanting. What else can you provide? Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Are you a security expert? Are you an economist? What do you have to offer to strengthen parliament? So I got into parliament with a solid security background, having worked with the United Nations for some time, been in the police service for over 25 years, worked in the office of the Inspector General of Police, where I have provided so much support for 3 good IGPs. I think that my background in security gave me some leeway, and I found myself very comfortable on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. And I'm providing the service that I can. It's quite challenging because the training that I've had in the past, if we say it's 9 o'clock, it's 9 o'clock.
Right.
Right?
And you were here
yes,
on time.
Exactly.
In fact, before time.
I was here 15 minutes to time. That is the police training.
Right.
If the time is 9 o'clock, I should be here 9:15. I'm waiting for you to call me in. So that level of discipline gave me some bit of frustration when I get into parliament because it's a different terrain.
Right.
And it's not everything that you can understand from day one. So as I said, this is my 3rd year. I'm learning so fast. And I'm believing that by the end of my first term, I should be the MP that the people of Wa West want to see.
Right. Were you always a politician while working in the Ghana Police Service? I mean, we've seen COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent JB, and all of that. We saw the bipartisan probe in Parliament, in the attempt to oust IGP Dampari, etc. And people are asking the question: was Peter Lanchene Toobu always a politician while he was working there, but he managed to keep his on the quiet?
Interestingly, many of the people who know me were surprised that I joined NDC. I am a very active politician,
right,
but not partisan. Every human being is a political animal, and that is why we all go to vote.
Right.
Every human being wants a president who will do well. Every human being in this country believes that the economy should be thriving, and all of us should enjoy the fruit of good leadership. So all of us must be politically active. But it's not all of us who are granted the legal space to be partisan.
Right.
So I was never partisan in my approach in life. And that is why I worked under Mr. Paul Tawiakwe, the former IGP.
Right.
I worked with Mr. Mohammed Al-Hassan, the former IGP. I've worked with Mr. David Asantia-Pietu, the former IGP.
Right.
2 NDCs, 1 MPP. And none of them, if you talk to them, none of them can tell you that I had demonstrated anything to show that I was partisan, and for that matter, drifting towards a particular political party. No.
Right.
I think that if you speak to even the one that I served last, Mr. David Asantia-Pietu, he will tell you the kind of thing that I did while I was in that office. If anybody should say that I was going to join NDC and become a member of parliament, people will be surprised because I was just nationalistic.
All right.
If I advise him, I'd advise him on things that can let Ghana be a very peaceful country. If I'm, I did a bit in masters. I did a bit of masters in leading innovation and change.
Right.
And
Leadership.
Leadership, innovation. And in my background, academic background, I try to create some scenarios to help police progress. I try to create I remember one time I created something to deal with youth unemployment. And when I presented it to IGP, he said, this is wonderful. So we invited my good friend Samia Uku, who was by then with YE. He came and I did a presentation to him. YE adopted that program, and they've recruited over 20,000 young people.
I see.
Yes, and I was a police officer. So if somebody thinks that I was partisan, I have never. And when I was even resigning, I had an appointment with the United Nations.
Okay.
And I wanted to take that up, and my family said, no, please come home. So what I did strategically was to push that appointment 4 months forward.
Okay.
So that I'll go home and do the primaries. If they decide to vote for me and want me to come and serve them, I will go home and serve them.
Right.
If they think that my senior brother, Honorable Joseph Yellister, should continue, I will take up the appointment and I'm in New York. So I didn't have a challenge. So gradually, when I went home, they voted for me. And that is how come. But we never discussed politics in office. Partisan politics.
What did it mean to have a giant like Yellister, to kick him off the space? I mean, Yellister, master of the standing orders in Parliament, a very respected voice in politics. Then Peter Toobu from nowhere, policeman, is doing his security thing. Family calls him, he comes there, topples him. I mean, what was it like?
It was quite scary. Anybody knowing the stature of Honorable Yellister, and as we still speak, with all due respect, anytime I mention his name, I bow, because he's a senior brother. When I was in secondary school, he was the ones that, we were all depending on to raise our shoulders, because he comes from the same area.
Right.
So when I was in secondary school, say, your dad is uncle. The uncle is the regional secretary. The uncle is the regional minister. We're all proud of him. But you know what? Life is in motion. You get to a point, young blood must come to play. So when I was going home, it was because of the belief in the people who says he has done so well. But we think that he's gotten to a point that he's tired. We need fresh blood. And I believe in what the people said. And when I looked at my elder brother, I also believe, recalling from 1984 to date, he needs to change. All those people he started with, many of them have retired from active politics. Many of them sit and they're ambassadors and whatnot. He himself served as an ambassador before. So I said, no, I think that I need to respond. And we are men. You can't just sit and say, I don't want to be an MP again, when the people say, continue to serve them. So I went home and I said, well, if you think that you want Honorable Joseph Yellister to rest or take a break, vote for me. If you think that you want him to continue, vote for him, and I will support him. So the campaign was so decent. And I even told my campaign team members, if you make a mistake and pass any you pass any remark that is destructive in nature, I will sack you from my campaign team.
I see.
I didn't come to condemn him. I came to compliment the effort of Honorable Yelitsa over the years, a 4-time MP. And believably, it's the same party. Why should we have differences? The differences should be that I have different ideas, but it's all about the development of Wawes.
Right.
So we did it so nicely. And when the results came, people were really shocked because they didn't believe that I could win with that huge margin.
Right.
But I knew. I knew that it was a possible thing to do because time had come for my big brother to take a bow and take a rest.
Are you still in contact with the Honorable Yelitsa?
Yes, we are still in contact. There's nothing that can create any bad blood between us because it's just the same family. We are in the same family umbrella and we are just brothers and sisters.
Right.
We are comrades. There shouldn't be any difference.
Did you lose friends when you decided to take on this journey to serve your nation in a different capacity as a member of parliament?
That is one thing that I have always wished the opportunity to speak about and advise people. I lost so many friends.
Wow.
I lost so many friends because people come to the office of the IGP and it's like, God put you here to help me. I was so shocked that you did this to me without even knowing me. I said, I am an administrator and I sit in the IG's office.
Right.
What I do is to ensure that police operations strive well in the field. People who are in the field running helter-skelter, trying to bring crime under control. When I find myself in the office, I should play my role to the point that you will feel very comfortable in the field. And that is exactly what I was doing. I don't need to know you physically, no. I need to know you per record. And your record should be handled such that you are encouraged out there to work. When I left, a lot of them got disappointed. Commissioners called me and some were like, you don't have to do this. You are the eye. And I was even hoping that if I become IGP, you continue to serve me. I said, I've done 3 already. And I think that it's time for me to also do something new. And this is a call. It doesn't matter what you do. The family is core in our lives. If family calls, I'll respect that. And the family is calling to put me in a perspective that is national in character, that they want me to become a member of parliament and to serve them. So I responded to that call positively. And I lost a lot of friends because people were like, oh, now he's NDC. We used to be friends. I don't support the NDC party, so he's no longer my friend.
Right.
And I felt so sad. And people say, oh, now he's NDC. I didn't know that he could even become part of this party. Oh, then he's not my friend. So as I lost many, I gained many. So I think that as a politician now for the past 3 years, I've made some very new friends, and I've consolidated my hold on some old friends who believe that, listen, it's all about the vision of Peter Lanchene Toobu.
Right.
Where do you want to go with Wawes? Where do you want to go in your own life? How do you influence society with the little time that you have in this world? After how many years are we going to live? Time is running against us. All of us should rise up and do something for this country. Don't wait and say tomorrow. Procrastination is a thief of time.
The work of parliament is difficult, as you indicated earlier. You have to do a lot of reading, you'll be whipped into line and all of that. How are you finding your feet, knowing that you worked in a regimental space one? There's discipline, things have to be done, it's binary. It's either this or that and nothing else. Now you get into a space with politicians and sometimes you have to be whipped into line. Whether you like the decision or not, you have to, this is what the caucus has decided. How are you finding your feet?
Well, from a discipline background, all we say is that, in the police service, we can always tell you order can change. Whatever you want to do, if the IGP directs, sometimes we say impol direct, the Inspector General of Police directs, and that's it, finito. If the IGP directs, everybody...
You have nothing else to add.
No, you fall in line. If you have any suggestion, probably you go to the IGP and suggest to him. But you can't violate the IGP's directives. You cannot. In the same way, I think I got into parliament and realized that probably it's even more regimented than I thought. When they are whipping people in line, okay, this is the decision of the caucus. Whether you agree or not, as long as it's the decision of the caucus, you are part of it. This is the decision of parliament. You can vote against a bill.
Right.
But if majority decides that is the decision and majority carries the vote, you don't go out there and say that, no, I didn't support this bill. You can make a point that you didn't support it, but parliament has decided, and as a member of parliament, you are binding by that decision, and that is it. So I am used to some of these things, and I think that it was just for 6 months that I saw some things new, because it is actually a new place. But as a fast learner, I adjusted quickly, and I'm very comfortable. Right. And as a backbencher, there is a lot of fun at the backbench. We are the one who have to create fun and let leaders realize this is not a do or die business. Sometimes you have to relax a bit,
right,
and let's have fun and ensure that things that are before us, we are handling them seriously, and Ghana will become a better country.
Have you made new friends in parliament on the other side, not on your side, on the other side, the majority side?
Yeah, I have some friends. Some of them, Vandal City president in
Right.
2004, 2005.
Right.
And in Commonwealth Hall, we had a lot of
Vime,
sharp. You know, even there are a lot of MPs in Parliament from Commonwealth Hall that we've known each other for years before coming in the house. And the fact that we belong to different political parties has not taken away our Vandal spirit. We are still very close. Even Commissioner George Mensah himself, I was praying for him to come. He's a Vandal mate.
Okay.
Joe Wise is a Vandal mate. I was praying for him to come. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. And I wish him well wherever he finds himself. But a lot of other Vandals in the house, on the other side. I've also made some very new friends on the other side. And on my side, I think I have so many of them. And I'm a very open person. Sometimes people think that I am an extrovert as they look at me. So making friends is not a big thing. And in politics, you need to create a huge network. And in building that network, I think that getting colleagues onto that network is also a very important step to take. So I'm doing the best that I can that in the next few years, if you come to Parliament and you see me, you will realize that I have established myself and I can speak on authority what I know and I want to say.
What are your thoughts about the COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent JB, Superintendent Asari, and all the conversations with Bugri Nabu about kicking IGP Dampare out? What do you say to that? You're first of all a policeman, and then there's the parliamentary probe, and then the public opinion. What do you say?
Well, I'll just make one comment. Because I'm a member of the committee and the report is not officially out yet, it would be prejudicial to be making comment about that particular committee. But I think that you remember I asked a question on during the hearing. I asked Commissioner Mensah the question. If the Inspector General of Police is behaving in a way that is untoward, and you think that that is not right for an IGP, and you are a member of the Police Management Board, what is the next layer for you to lay your complaint? Will you be in the office of Bugri Nabu? He said you can even go to court. I said, yes, I'm talking about within the structure.
Right.
If the IGP is somebody who does something I think that as a POMAP member is wrong, and I've spoken to the IGP on 2-3 occasions, he's not taking my word. Where is the next layer?
Right.
Where do you have to go? He's kept that question.
Where should he have gone?
He should have gone to the police council. And even as the commissioner of police, what is wrong with booking an appointment to go and see the chairman of the police council in his office?
Who is the vice president?
Who is the vice president?
Right.
He's an open person. He's the chairman of the police council. Book an appointment and go and talk to him. But whatever it is that he opted to go and see my old man, Chief Bugri Nabu, that is another story to tell. But I think that when the report comes out, we'll all begin to learn administrative structures. We'll all begin to learn lobbying. We'll all begin to learn decency in leadership. And we'll all begin to learn how we can protect the image of the Ghana Police Service. Because in our democracy, without a good policing, I think all of us will pay a price for it.
Would you say that the conversations about lobbying for who becomes IGP or becomes what in the police service is real? With political hands and all of that, is it real? Is it reality?
Lobbying generally is real in every facet of life. I mean, people lobby to become ministers. People, as we are speaking, people are lobbying to become vice presidential candidate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to become vice presidential candidate to President John Dramani Mahama. Lobbying is everywhere. But at what length should we go? How dirty can it be? Right. How do you restrict it and restrain it so that you don't lobby and get the position? One of my IGPs made a statement some time ago. He said, when you over lobby, and that is actually Mr. David Ansatiampiet. He said, when you over lobby and you are given an appointment, you can never perform.
Wow.
No, you can never perform. Because the network of the people who pool their resources together to get you that appointment, they are the same network of people you have to respect. Even if they break laws, you will find it very difficult to close your eyes and perform your job. And they will tell you, oh, you think you were the only qualified person at the time? No, you weren't. So don't come and tell me what the law says. We know what the law says. But we also knew at the time that you were lobbying us and we pulled the strings for you to be appointed. You were not the best. So we also knew at that point. So shut up. So you see that you will be restricted.
Right.
Lobbying must be decent. Lobbying must be governed by rules and regulations. And please don't lobby to destroy the opportunity to be able to be innovative. Because the people who come around you to push you to that level, they will become a hindrance in your progress later.
The government instituted Operation See Something, Say Something. As a security expert, what did you think of that? See something, say something.
I think superficially, okay, that is it. Superficially,
right.
That was a good thing. I attended the launch, and I was there, and I think If you see something, you say something. The other part that was missing, if I see something and I say something, I want to see the action that is taken.
Okay.
See something, say something, somebody does something.
Okay.
The part of the action that will be taken will inform me to be convinced that what I've seen and have said has produced some result that is positive.
But that was missing.
That was missing. And in fact, it was not only missing on paper, it's actually missing in practice. And that is why the see something, say something campaign seem to have dropped into the ocean. You don't hear of it any longer. Because if I'm seeing something and I'm saying something, I need to be briefed later that what you've seen and what you've said has brought some positive impact on the area, in the area of national security.
Right.
And I'll be proud that, yes, I am providing service to Ghana in the way I'm seeing and saying. But if I see and say, and gradually you begin to realize that what I saw and I've said it is repetitive, and I mean, it's continuously happening, then what encourages me to continue to say what I'm saying? So we have said that, I remember when they even appointed the see something, say something
ambassadors, right?
A lot of critics came across, what is their knowledge in the area of terrorism?
Right.
And I personally met the National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, and I asked him, these are questions that have been bandied around. Why did you do this? He said, well, it was not a direct thing that I did, but I think that the ministry was looking at people with huge following, okay? So that this method of see something, say something can reach the masses.
Right.
And that was how come they selected those people. It wasn't about their knowledge and security. I said, that is fine. But where have we gotten to now with the see something, say something? I'm sure that we need to refresh that. And in refreshing that, we need to add up one or two things that can let it work. But in other words, it's a good idea.
The public, do you think the public were drawn along with it? In fact, you know, to get a sense of what it is, or you get a sense that the government at the time was paranoid that something could happen? And around that same time, people were talking about the fact that, oh, a coup could happen, oh, this could happen. Do you get a sense that that was why the government brought that see something, say something?
Well, see something, say something is a good security approach, but I think that government ought to have let people, a lot of people, to buy into the idea before they launch it. You see, when you launch something of such importance, and the people begin to see it just on the television, on airwaves, listening to it, and they have not been consulted. You know, security is a collective responsibility.
That's right.
And if all of us buy into a particular concept that you want to launch, before you launch it, we own it. And when you launch it, we practice it. And gradually, in a month or two, you do a bit of review. I don't think they've done any review since we launched that much. And it's going.
Right.
It is clear that it is not working as they anticipated. It means something is missing. The people of Ghana are not active enough in seeing something, saying something.
Right.
And the few questions that they've asked initially had to do with, if I see something and I say something, what happens next? We want to see the action. And I want to be given a feedback. I have seen it, I've said it, I want the feedback. If I'm not getting the feedback, what encourages the next person to go and do the same?
Soldiers broke into parliament on the night when you were choosing your Speaker of Parliament, Speaker Bagbin.
Yes.
We have not had a conclusion to that matter. You are a senior police officer. You are also a member of Parliament, a key stakeholder on both ends. What do you say?
That matter can never, ever be swept under the carpet. It should not be swept under the carpet.
Has it not already been swept under the carpet?
No, I don't care how long it takes. As long as the Fourth Republic remains, we need to have best practices built into our system so that we can progress with our democracy. If it was absolutely wrong and people must be held accountable, let it be so that we learn from it. You know, on that very day, can you imagine that we had no president? We had no president. We hadn't sworn in the president yet.
That's right.
So Ghana was actually in a lacuna. And you have soldiers in the chamber. And with my background, when I saw the soldiers in the chamber, I said, what are they doing here? You cannot intimidate anybody in the chamber. Democracy is parliament, and parliament is democracy. You can't get in here. We've moved away from military regime many years ago. And since 1992, we practiced this multi-party democracy, which has gradually been entrenched. We can't go back into the dark days. No. And we stood our grounds, and gradually Speaker Bagbin was elected. That matter, I believe, has been investigated a while, but I've not gotten a conclusion. I've not gotten any report on it. But I am personally saying, that matter cannot be swept under a carpet. We need to investigate it and make sure that what was wrong is exposed to the Ghanaian people. And the Ghanaian Armed Forces will know that what happened was totally wrong and it should never be repeated. We should learn from it.
Right.
But if we sweep it under the carpet, next time if it happens again, this is not the Ghanaian character. No.
You see a lot of soldiers in town these days, some performing internal security jobs. And the question has been asked if the military is not being how do I put it, for want of a better expression, is not being overexposed
to
the civilian.
matters.
Yes, and people are asking that question. What do you say?
Thank you very much. I think that I'm excited. Let me say good morning to my brother, the newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff.
Right.
The newly appointed Chief of Defense is an armor man. He's an army man.
That's right.
And I remember when I attended the handing over ceremony, he made a short statement when he received the baton to lead the Ghana Armed Forces. He said, yes, now I am in charge of the armor, I'm in charge of the aircraft, and I'm in charge of the ships. Impressive. He's now in charge of the armor, he's in charge of the aircraft, he's in charge of the Navy, he's in charge of the Air Force, he's in charge of the army. And I want to believe no soldier wants to be found in town like we see them. I want to believe no soldier takes pride in trying to do policing work or trying to do civil duties. They are trained to deal with combatants. They are trained to ensure that they defend the country, national defense. They are not trained for law enforcement. The law enforcement area is a primary responsibility of the Ghana Police Service. At any point in time that the Ghana Police Service is overwhelmed, they stretch an olive branch and invite the military to come.
Right.
And people must know this. Anytime you invite the military into a civil space, when the military arrive, they take dominion. They dominate the environment and do military job. They don't come to do police job.
Right.
So when you have a bit of some level of excesses after the military has come and gone, and people are complaining, the question I ask, who asked them to come? The person who invited them should have known that they don't come into a civil space and go like that. There will be some bit of excesses. They are not trained to handle this.
Ejura is still on our mind.
Ejura is still on our mind. And I think that Techiman Sab is on our mind.
Right.
And one thing about Techiman Sab that I want to make a very clear statement on.
You mean where the 8 people died and nobody has spoken about it?
Two people died in Techiman Sab
Right.
and nobody said anything about it.
But in totality, there were
about 8 people, yes,
right.
before the elections.
But let's focus on Techiman. I will come to the 8
Right.
in totality.
Look, if you are in uniform and you are a soldier or a police officer and you've been given a weapon, please, the weapon is not a stick. The weapon is a lethal material that can kill you yourself. The weapon is something that you have to use to protect yourself, defend yourself, and protect others. The weapon is a serious part of your accoutrement. If you go and shoot and somebody dies in the process, or even shoot and somebody is maimed, or if you even shoot and you are required to answer questions, if you can't go out there and say, I went and did the shooting, you are a criminal. Because there are justifications for the use of firearm.
Right.
You've been given the firearm, and there are rules and regulations governing the use of the firearm. So if you are justified in using the firearm, you should never be somebody that the security agencies or the police will be looking for and cannot find you.
Right.
What happened in Techiman Sab is a dent on our democracy, because all those people who went there to shoot, if they were real soldiers, command and control will have to expose them first. If they are not being exposed, they themselves have to go and report and say, we shot and we killed. And these were the reasons why we shot. No soldier is a coward. So when you find a soldier who is a coward and can shoot and run and hide, and it will take 3 years and we can't even identify them, they were not soldiers, they were criminals. And it's very dangerous for the uniform, because anytime somebody also sees another person in the green uniform, thinking that that could be a soldier, a reflection is what happened in Techiman Sab. Maybe these are not soldiers. So if you fire, the population will rise up against you. And before you realize, we have killed professional soldiers because of some fake people who misbehave. If they are not fake, I am surprised up to now that they are not found.
You are surprised.
I am surprised if they are not fake. I am surprised. A soldier under command and control, you go out there and shoot and you cannot be found? No soldier is a coward. They will expose you and tell the public why they were justified in shooting. But if they cannot expose you, they cannot bring you to book. They cannot even identify who you are. I will conclude that anybody, police, soldier, who is in uniform and with a weapon, if you shoot and you cannot be identified, you are a criminal.
Let's look at recruitment. I mean, the issues of recruitment. It has come up. Some say there are political, police, military, political fire service people, there are protocol people, and then there are proper police people. Is there any distinction or classification like that you find people like that? For example, COP, Alex Mensah, JB, and they are being called political police people because, yes, they are police people, but they also were more interested in their political party and what could be achieved with them at the helm of affairs and all of that. And you see that trickling down, right down to the very bottom. Say, for example, in a viral video we saw, was it a corporal talking to a chief superintendent and telling them, you didn't recruit me. The person who recruited me asked me to come here. This was in the full glare of the public. Clearly a political policeman talking anyhow to a proper policeman who is actually senior. How do you feel? What do you say about it?
Thank you very much. This is a very important question. What is important in policing is not who you were before you joined. You can actually be an MPP constituency organizer, NDC constituency organizer, PNC, CPP, regional chairman or whatever. But if you agree to join the police or you join the army, when you are going, they don't ask you your party ID card. They ask you of the qualifications as prescribed in the advert. If you are qualified and you are recruited, they will take you not through MPP training. They are not going to take you through an NDC structured training. They are going to take you through a standard methodology of training, building you up to become a soldier, building you up to become a police officer, building you up to become an immigration officer or fire service officer. When that is done, and you put on the uniform, you know what the uniform does to you?
No.
The uniform covers any other color that is within you.
Right.
It can be any party color. The moment you don the uniform covers every color within you, and it is saying that, listen, every other color in you must remain dormant until you decide to remove the uniform. At any point in time you are in the uniform and the color in you is dominating the uniform, that is unprofessionalism. And you are gradually bringing the name of your institution into disrepute. And that is why they will tell you, if you stoke political controversy in uniform, you will be dealt with. You are supposed to be an apolitical person, politically conscious but never partisan. You are supposed to be somebody who cannot decide that I am going to contest on the ticket of a political party while still in the uniform.
Right.
If I had the opportunity, I would have said, the way the police people are saying I shouldn't go, can you give me 1 year leave? Let me go and contest and go and serve as MP for 4 years or 8 years or 20 years. Sorry, when I'm done, I can come back.
Right.
Okay? Right. But the rule is clear in the Constitution. They say you can't put the two together. I remember somebody sang a song that if you smoke, smoke. If you go for alcohol, go for alcohol. But don't mix the two. Sanity. So, period. What I'm saying is that if you are somebody like me and you find yourself in my space, you will do as much as possible something that will let people begin to see you as a good example. I try to tell people, it doesn't matter who you are. When you are in the uniform and you want to project who you were before, then it means that you are not properly trained. Training is supposed to break you down. Mark Twain said, it's training that makes the officer, not your uniform.
Right.
And I've told people, the fact, if I see you in uniform, I don't respect you because you are in uniform. I respect you because when you begin to act, the uniform reflects in you that this is a professional police officer, this is a professional soldier.
Right.
And you are fit to wear the uniform. But when I find you in uniform and you are behaving untoward, you are behaving like you are not a properly trained person, I'll begin to suspect probably you are an imposter. Because no policeman, no soldier will behave like that. Just like what happened in Techman. How can soldiers get to a scene, shoot and disappear? There is no entry anywhere. There is nobody who says, I called them, because they must be called. Right. On matters of election security, they must be called. If they are not called and they break grounds and get into there, you can't be first responders. No. The electoral security architecture, in other words, election security architecture, is such that the military is in the last lap. The last strata.
Right.
And they hardly are involved, because unless the police fail or the police are overwhelmed, we like to use a very nice word, when they are overwhelmed. But the truth is that when the military are so much in town during elections, it shows the weakness of the police. If the police are up to the task and they know what to do, the military will relax and watch, hoping that nobody will break in from Burkina Faso, or no terrorist will come in from Togo to come and worry us. And they'll go and deal with that person in defending our nation. But for the internal matters of elections, even at the polling station, you have the EC staff, you have the party agent, you have 1 or 2 policemen without arms at the polling station. That is the arrangement. How will you find a soldier at the polling station with a weapon in a democracy? No, it doesn't happen.
How did we get here?
How did we get here? And I'm surprised that somebody who is presumed or probably seen to be someone who has fought for Ghana's democracy, he fought for multi-party democracy, and gradually he became the president, a human rights activist, human rights lawyer. He became the president, and under his nose, under his regime, in his tenure, all the negative things that we are mentioning happen under him. It's so surprising.
Ayawaso West Wogon, Ejura,
that
Odododiodo.
you will ask the IGP, what is happening in Ayawaso West Wogon? He said, I am not aware. You call the Director General Operations, Commissioner Mensah, at the time. Did you deploy any people? No, I don't know anything about it. So who deployed them? And that is how Emil Short Commission, they did a fantastic job. They recommended the complete dissolution of that SWAT team at the Ministry of National Security. And I think today I have been told that that unit no longer exists. It has embarrassed the services, it's embarrassed police, it's embarrassed the army, because when you are there, you are no longer under the command and control of either the CDS or the Inspector General of Police.
Right.
And that kind of loose cannon is dangerous for national security. So Emil Short Commission did a fantastic job by that recommendation, and I always salute them anytime.
Let's talk about, because you mentioned election security. One senior police officer seems to have gotten himself into trouble, DCOP Wabu. I'm sure you know him very well. Let's listen to him briefly and we'll come back quickly.
Apart from that, the DCOP, I mean, you're talking about training and all, but for many Ghanaians also, learning from what happened in 2020, where some Ghanaians lost their lives during the elections, they would want to know, what is it that the Ghana Police Service has put in place to ensure that not one person loses his life during this election period?
Yeah, just as I said, if you looked at 2023, the elections that we conducted all, you could see that all were incident-free. This is the status, and we have learned out of it, we have taken notes out of it, and so we know where we are moving
What
forward.
have you learned out of these?
Like how we organize it, how we organize all those elections that within last year, and whatever happened in 2022, a lesson has been learned out of it. We're not maybe going to involve the military as it were, because it was not even the police that came out with this issue. So it's going to be only the military, I mean the police, the prisons, the fire, and then immigration. That is going to conduct these elections. They are going to support us. It is our baby. It is the police baby, but we want to co-opt in our sister security to assist in one way or the other.
Has that been sorted out, though, that when it comes to elections, you are the primary security agency, and in fact, in the coordination process, you have to request if you need additional support, and we don't have a situation where we have the military going into a place and creating this tension that we see sometimes that then leads to violence, and then the police is held responsible. But there's a military that has been deployed sometimes without your knowledge. And I'm saying this on the back of Ayawaso West Wogon. And when the commission work was done, it was streamlined with the police being the arrowhead. Has that been sorted out for this year?
That has been sorted out by the Inspector General of Police with his POMA members. And it's a clear-cut issue. Every internal issue is the police duty. And that is for sure on place. So
that's DCOP Wabu, and Chief, he's one of your own. I'm in studio with the Honorable Peter Lanchene Toobu, Member of Parliament for the people of Wa West. That's how he likes to be addressed. This is what the DCOP has said. Did he say anything wrong?
Thank you very much. DCOP, Mr. Gabriel, Prince Gabriel Wawo. If you are listening to me, I greet you.
Right.
Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, the Inspector General of Police, if you are listening to me, I greet you. Commissioner of Police, Mr. Yohonu, if you are listening to me, I greet you. Every POMAP member this morning, I salute all of you for the good job that you've done so far. Let me go into this. I was in Parliament on ahead of the fact that police have issued a statement. Somebody called me, have you read it? I said, no. So I read the statement. When I read the statement, I asked myself, no. I looked at the signature again, and it was actually the signature of the Director of Public Affairs. So I quickly picked my phone and called the IGP. I called him 3 times. The line didn't go through. So I quickly called the police headquarters and I asked, where is the Inspector General of Police? Because I just read a statement that is quite disappointing. And the person said, sorry, the IG is not in town. I said, okay, then I'm relaxed now. If the IG is not in town, I am relaxed. Because if the Inspector General of Police, I'm sure probably he's on leave. If he's on leave, fine, somebody's in charge. But if the Inspector General of Police is in town and this statement found itself into social media, I would be highly disappointed. But since it's not in town, let me give him some space.
All right.
How can you are talking about discipline. You are taking a DCOP through disciplinary process. You are talking about dissociating yourself from his statement.
Right.
What is the background? The background is that Joy FM organized a launch of their election headquarters program.
That's right. That's
and they invited the police. And for that matter, they invited the Inspector General of Police. And the Inspector General of Police, the police administration for that matter, nominated DCOP Wow to go and represent the police organization. So he was there in his capacity, official capacity, representing the police. And what did he say? We are not going to use the military as it were.
Right.
That statement should be underlined. We are not going to use the military as it were.
As it were.
And what was the question? The question was, how can we prevent the recurrence of Techiman Sab, for instance? How can we prevent finding people with arms, getting to polling station and shooting and killing? How can we prevent that? Can the Ghana Police Service assure the Ghanaian people that in 2024 we are not going to see anything like that again? And the man said, listen, we are not going to involve the military as it were. The military has a role to play in the National Election Security Task Force. The Chief of Defense Staff is a member of the National Election Security Task Force, and the Inspector General of Police is the chairman of the task force. What is the meaning of that? We don't want to see soldiers at the polling station, but that doesn't mean they are not around. Nobody should take that to mean that soldiers will not be around. Okay. The soldiers are in the background.
Right.
The soldiers will be on standby. But the police are upping their game to the point that, inshallah, if they continue with the trajectory, looking at Kumawu, looking at Asin North, looking at the two presidential primaries, the parliamentary primaries, and looking at the district assembly elections that were secured by the police, if they continue on that trajectory, I am quite convinced that by 7 December 2024, we will finish the elections, the results will be declared, and you will not find a single soldier at a polling station. You might come across them on a patrol somewhere, just on a standby, waiting to be called by the police should the need be. But Prince Wabu says, we are not going to involve the soldiers or the military as it were, that a soldier will be a first responder at the polling station when there is chaos. That is not the right thing to do. A soldier cannot be the first responder because the soldier is on the last lap, the last strata of the arrangement. Who is the first security man at the polling station? Is the unarmed police officer.
Right.
Who is the second security man in the structure? It is the supervisors who go around to find out what is happening at every police station. Who is the third? The third are rapid response teams who are armed and they are mobile and they are networked in the operational arrangement such that if you call them within the period of 5 to 10 minutes, you will have a patrol team emerging there.
Right.
And they are armed. If they cannot be able to manage a particular situation, they call in more armed men. And if they come together and they cannot manage the situation and realize that this is above the police, we are overwhelmed, that is the only time you invite my brothers and sisters in green.
Right.
And when the green men arrive, in Ghana, you know what we say? Say, Memma Maba.
That's right.
Yes, they have come. You know why we say that?
No.
They are not coming to do police work. They are not talking about law and order.
They're not coming to negotiate.
No. You've been very violent and you've disrespected the law. The police have tried their best and you don't want to respect the law. Okay, let's come together and see who is more decent. And when they arrive, in the space of 30 minutes, they take dominion. And in the space of 30 minutes, there is calm. And they'll return. So when you have excesses after that, you don't go blaming the military. No, they came to do military work. And the young man is saying, the commissioner is saying, we are not going to involve them as it were. We are refining the operational strategy, and we are praying that by 2024, looking at the best practices we've had, Asin North was hot, Kumawu was hot.
Right.
If you look at the district assembly election this year, I'm telling you, sometimes you go to some electoral areas and you think that they are contesting to become MPs.
Right.
It was heated. But at the end of the day, the police, I salute them. They did a fantastic job. Dr. George Akufu Dampare, wherever you are, if your legacy will be written, I think that your successes chalked in these elections that I've mentioned will be emboldened in it. And people will begin to believe that you came, and if you even have shortcomings, for this particular one, I will stand up for you. And that is why I'm saying, if you say that the young man who represented the police administration is going to be dealt with through disciplinary process, then I ask yourself, you want to disassociate yourself from his statement. He was representing you. You know what? administratively, if they do that, they will collapse the system. You know why?
No.
If a POMAP member representing the IGP can make a statement and the police administration will come and dissociate themselves from that statement, no police officer will ever speak again for the police. Whether you are a district commander, you are a regional commander, no police officer. This is the highest POMAP member.
Right.
And what it means is that we will gradually turn the Inspector General of Police into the Public Affairs Department Director.
Is he not already the Public Affairs Director? Because all the PROs across the regions and across the districts, they don't speak to us anymore. The IGP has centralized communication.
Well,
I've
heard of that. I've seen it. And I personally inquired, what is the new strategy? And I think that we had gone back into history. A time came that police officers were commenting on issues and they were creating more trouble for the Ghana Police Service. We decided that no, people should stop talking. And we gradually went down the line to recruit professional journalists, media people, and train them and made them police officers and send them to the various regions. And gradually, when I was out, I don't know what happened. And the IGP felt that, no, let's go back to scratch and start again. Let's come back. People should not, because when an incident happened, your comment can inflame passions and your comment can create more insecurity.
Right.
They re-centralize it. And I don't know what the next stage is because I am not in that strategic thinking line with them.
That's right.
But the next stage is what we are all waiting for. But what is happening? I'm talking about Gabriel Wabo. If they are dissociating themselves from his statement, professionally representing the police on duty, he's made those statements on duty. If you distance yourself from him, the next time, no police commissioner.
He says recipe for disaster. What really is the style, the house style, as we like to call it? So I'm representing the IGP. Yeah. I'm a senior police officer. Am I told what to go and say, or am I allowed to go and say what I want to say, given what I know?
Before you represent the IGP, your background should show.
Okay.
What are they going to talk about? They're going to talk about election security.
That's right.
So we look around to see who has that background. The Director General of Operations, I'm sure if he was in town, he would have represented the IGP. But I'm told he wasn't in town. So they look around who has some solid operational background. Prince Gabriel Wabo, the Deputy Commissioner of Police now, was the SWAT, the Buffalo Commander in Kumasi. He's operationally minded.
Right.
He's been a regional commander in the Upper West region. He served with the United Nations before. He's been a commander with the visibility unit in Accra. I've known him for some time.
Right.
So he's been part of the elections since 1992 up to date. So in electoral security, he's somebody you can trust and listen to. And I'm sure that was the reason why they look at the background and look at the program that was being aired and said, you have to represent.
Do you think he's being thrown under the bus by that statement that the police wrote?
Well, it is a statement. And I'm not sure that the IGP will come back from wherever he is to endorse that statement. No, I'm not sure. So let's wait for the IGP to come. The buck stopped with him. Administratively, what they ought to have done, and if Commissioner GP2 is listening to me, I believe that what they ought to have done as police administration is to issue a statement correcting the errors that they think that the DCOP made.
Okay.
And situating the DCOP's conversation in a context that reflects the police administrative operational direction. And the public will be informed this is actually the police position. What he said, there were certain things he said that were right, but this particular statement that he made, we thought that he's gone a bit overboard.
Right.
This is actually the position, and you end it there. For you to say you are dissociating yourself and to go to the extent of that, disciplinary action will be taken against him. Do you know the meaning of disciplinary action in police?
Tell me.
When they talk about disciplinary action, there are three things. You will either be dismissed, you will either be reduced in rank, or you will either be removed from the police administration, from the police service. So these are the three punishments when we talk about disciplinary.
They are what? Go over them again.
You will either be removed, and that is they will take you out of the service, they will pay you all your benefit. You will be dismissed, you go home with nothing, or you'll be reduced in rank. So you could possibly be reduced from deputy commissioner. The man who is
ACP.
Yes, the man who is hoping to be commissioner very soon. You drop him back to ACP. He will be down, frustrated, and he will go home hating the service that he has served for so many years. And we have got a lot of people who have gone out of the service on retirement, and they hate to hear police. Meanwhile, they were police officers all their life. We should be very, very careful. And for this another action, I'm wondering what charge, which law, what did he say wrong? And the fact that they are even apologizing to the Ghana Armed Forces. I was so disappointed. Why are you apologizing? Did he insult the army? No. He's saying that we are not going to use the army as it were. How were you using it? How did we do it? In 2020, and the reference was to the 2020 elections.
Right.
And the reference pinpointing was the Teshiman South incident. How will you say that somebody asking you, what will you do to prevent Techimansa from recurring in 2024? And the man says, we are not going to use the military as it were. The military cannot be first responders in public incidents that had to do with elections. Right. No. So we'll do the best that we can. And we are beginning to build capacity. Kumawu, the police were there. We didn't see any soldier. Fantastic job.
Would you say that DCOP Wabu also did not properly compose himself, knowing that he was going before two journalists who will ask questions? You know, do you think that he didn't?
I don't want to blame DCOP Wabu. You know what?
No.
If you have police management board and the whole board decides that we want to send our best shot for this particular program, if that is your best shot, whatever happens, you take it and keep quiet.
I see.
Right? That is your best shot. He didn't opt to go by himself.
Somebody sent him.
You look amongst yourself and say, please, with this particular program, you are the best to go. And who dare you to say you will not go? Somebody say, IGP say go, you say no, go. Who bond?
It's an order.
It's an order. You will have to go. So when you send your best shot and the person goes and didn't meet your target or didn't meet your demands, okay? You issue a statement to situate what you intended for him to have conveyed and end it there. Don't give the negative news if there is any oxygen. What the police statement did was just to give that slight thing that the thing that he said about the armed forces, we will not use them again. You want to give it oxygen? You are not going to use them at the polling station, but the army will be there. And when you are overwhelmed, you will still call them.
Right.
The public knows that. And what DCOP Wabu said will never change the public perception that if there is chaos and the police cannot do it, the army will not come.
Let's look at this scenario, for example. DCOP Wabu spoke about internal security, election security, and said that it will be the police at the front, if I get him right, and then the army will be the last strata, as you have mentioned. But you have the person who actually is supposed to announce the presidential elections and count the votes being guarded by the military. It raises questions how we're trying to marry the two. The police says we are in charge and we will be in charge until we are overwhelmed, or as you say, until we have failed, then we will bring in the army. But the Electoral Commission boss, Jim Mensah, is presently guarded by the military. Boss Manasari is presently guarded by the military. How do you marry the two?
Very good question. I think that Ghanaians are very vigilant. They are watching. That if you look at the lifestyle and the security arrangement for Dr. Afarajan, who was also an EC.
That's right.
And compare that to what is happening now. If you are Ghanaian enough, you should be worried in your heart. An electoral commissioner, not that she's going to announce results and she requires that robust security. On daily basis, she's being guarded by the military. Why? On daily basis, a deputy EC is being guarded by the military. Why? And we're talking about this is democracy, where the police ought to take the lead on matters of internal security, very particular on elections. Why would military be protecting an electoral commissioner?
Is the police capable of doing that job?
You know, there is something that people do not know.
Tell me.
Policing has evolved over the years. And it got to a point the United Nations felt that we need to have a brittle standard of policing. Brittle in the sense that we don't want hard policing to be comparative to the military. No. And we're also looking at the soft policing that we have over the years. They created something in the middle. And what they created in the middle is more robust. It is not as, it doesn't have the high firepower like the military, but it's not as soft as the normal police. It's more robust, and that is the formed police unit. Counter-terrorism unit. The SWAT teams.
FPU,
SWAT. These are people who are trained, rapid deployment force. These are people who are trained, robust enough to handle public disorder issues. So
you have all these?
Oh, yes, we have them.
So why do you go for the military?
We have them. And fortunately enough, Dr. George Akufu Dampare, you know, the Public Order Act was passed in 1994.
Yes.
It took 20 years. It was in 2024 that Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan.
2014,
yes, 2014, yes. 2014. Mr. Mohammed Al-Hassan came and said, how can you ensure that this law is well respected when the police are not prepared for it? We need police officers to understand the Public Order Act so that they can manage public disorder. And he converted the defunct Armor Car Squadron into formed police unit. And it was Dr. George Akufu Dampare by then who he sent as a lead person to lead in the reformation or rechristening of that particular unit.
Okay.
And he knows much well that the FPU is a very potent tool when it comes to public order management. And you know what? Dr. George Akufu Dampare, at least he's done well. Right now, as we speak, he has over 130 FPU bases scattered across the whole country.
Wow.
Yes. It's never happened before. And he has FPU bases in all the 16 regions, preparing to ensure that if you require the police to do the police work, they are ready to, and they are there. At the point in time that the military will have to come in, it should be once in a blue moon. Totally, once in a blue moon.
So,
and not
so what
during
we
elections.
see now is totally wrong. Where you have military following the EC boss is totally wrong.
I am surprised that it is under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that an electoral commissioner will have full military security.
Why are you surprised?
Why? I'm surprised. A human rights activist, the person who believes so much in the rule of law, and you have become the president. We're expecting to have the best of democracy under President Nana Akufo-Addo. But this is seemingly a quasi-dictatorship.
ACP Dr. Ben Agojo, he has finally been cleared of anything. And some say his woes began when he started talking about the structure of, the police and those who were breathing down the neck of the police council, how many politicians are there and all of that. That's where his trouble started, before all this coup and treason and everything else. He himself has been speaking that he was not fairly treated and that if he's not properly compensated, he may sue. What do you say?
Dr. Benjamin Agojo, my very good friend. We've been together for years. We've traveled this world together as UN certified facilitators. We've been to so many countries, and I've known him so well. He speaks his mind, all right? Doctor speaks his mind. It doesn't matter what. You can put a knife on his neck. He will speak his mind. Even with all the frustration you've gone through over the years with this trial in the court, he's still the Dr. Benjamin Agojo that you know.
Right.
I mean, they attempted to destroy him. I was not surprised that he was acquitted and discharged. Because when I heard about coup d'etat and doctor's name was mentioned, I said, why? Doctor, to be thinking about coup d'etat, for what? I was surprised, but I said, well, I don't know what investigations they've done and what evidence are available. Let's see how they proceed to court and succeed in prosecuting him. Gradually, he was acquitted and discharged. And it simply means he has done absolutely nothing. And I don't think that he should even sue. Government should voluntarily compensate him. I was expecting that he will be reinstated, okay? If he's due to be promoted, he would have been promoted. And if he's due for anything he would have been given, then he will not be allowed to retire, as if nothing had happened, because he was acquitted and discharged.
That's right.
Are his mates still DCOPs?
They are.
So are his mates still assistant commissioners?
Yes, they are.
They are still assistant commissioners?
They are.
Fine. If they are still assistant commissioners...
He retired last year, right?
Yes, last year.
The retirement
Yes.
last year.
At the point that he got assistant commissioner, up to date, if he was still in the service, probably he would have been a deputy commissioner.
That's right.
Right? So reinstate him. By reinstating, you restore him to his normal position and let him flow out normal, as if nothing has happened. But
the pull-out
pain,
ceremony and everything else.
The pain, the frustration that he has gone through because of this trial, government should voluntarily decide to compensate him. Or else, if he goes to sue, I would have said that he would have sued even yesterday. It's too late.
You mentioned that some people leave the service and they become so pained. They don't even want to hear anything about the service. Why?
Thank you so much. That is something that police must take note. And I've always advised many IGP. Some listen, some don't. Police promotion. It doesn't matter what you do to a police officer. If you dare mess up with his or her promotion, he will hate you forever. Police promotion is policing. Because it's a regimented institution, command and control. The man needs needs command, he needs authority, he needs power, and it's in the rank. Somebody is probably an assistant commissioner of police. Let me use a good example. Somebody is a chief superintendent of police.
Right.
He wants to cross over into the commissioner rank. He's pending assistant commissioner. And from chief superintendent to assistant commissioner to the rest, it has to be approved by the president.
That's right.
Okay? Then you are due for promotion to assistant commissioner. And then you have about 6 months to retire. You pray that you retire with your assistant commissioner, with your salary and all that. 3 months more, 2 months more, the last month. And you can see that you are overdue. But it is the president that promotes. Okay? Then all of a sudden you are retired with the chief superintendent. 1 month after your retirement, all your mates are promoted to assistant commissioner. The pain in you will never go away. And I've known a deputy commissioner of police some time ago. He was deputy commissioner of police, I think, for 12 years.
12?
Yes.
What is the standard?
I was. I mean, 4 years.
4 years, right?
Yes. Depending on availability of vacancy and all the clauses that they can put across. But the fact is that if they want to promote you today, they'll promote you today. I was sergeant for 9 years. I wore my sergeant rank for 9 years. And one day I walked to this man. I walked to the commissioner and I said, "You are the commissioner in charge of welfare. I came to join this police service reading your conditions of service," which said, after 3 years in the service, I could go to school. So I joined with that condition. When I was 3 years, you varied the conditions to my disadvantage. I made it 6 years. When I was 6 years, you varied it again and said, no, you'll be 6 years after probation. It means that I have to be 8 years in the service before I could go to school. I had to stay for 8 years, and I went to school. I got my first promotion as a sergeant because I wrote A-level in the police.
Right.
I stayed in the sergeant rank for 9 years. And I walked in and I said, what is the meaning of this? I don't have any criminal record. I don't have any disciplinary action against me. I have a very clean record, wearing one rank for 9 years. Why? He looked at me and said, my son, I have been wearing mine for 12 years as a deputy commissioner. If you find solace anywhere, you can link your father. I'm equally frustrated. And this was somebody that I wanted to have hope in, that he was going to help me. That was the level of the pain and frustration that I suffered in the office, and I just walked out. What is happening? Police promotion. It doesn't matter who you are as IGP. If you dare meddle and mess up police promotion, if you want to say you want to promote based on merit, there are some people, when you promote them, or even on special recommendation, when you promote them, the whole service hails the person. Because the person is so outstanding, it's so clear that this person deserves to be honored. So you promote the person on special recommendation, and even his own mates or her own mate will clap for the administration and say, oh, the administration is active and observant. He is our mate, she is our mate, but this promotion, the person deserves it. But sometimes you also promote somebody and people begin to ask, what has he done? Why? Is it cronyism? Why? Is it, what is special about this person? Sebe, let me speak a bit of tree.
Right.
Akwanwa bong, ejuma no kwa unim ejuma no, na ya promote okwere. Nipa ya bong, ejuma no so unim, and you are promoting him. That it should be something. It wouldn't be about performance.
Right.
It will be something. And any other thing that it is unprofessional. And it creates a lot of pain in people because that person will now become senior to his own mates.
Right. And a lot of it is happening, I'm told, these days, that juniors are being promoted over seniors, and some people are being lifted from their cohorts and promoted ahead, and it's causing a lot of dissatisfaction.
If the police administration is listening, as we are saying, if anything like that is happening, they will dampen the spirit of men and women in uniform. Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, looking at his track record and what he has gone through in terms of promotions, if he becomes the IGP and anything like that can happen, I will be disappointed. Because, I mean, you are one of the youngest in terms of IGPs, and you got your PhD at a very early age.
Right.
And you did so well. You are a motivation for many people. Dr. George Akufu-Dampare became a chartered accountant before Commissioner Alex Mensah. Right. And that is why even during our meeting, I told him, don't tell anybody that Dr. Dampare was promoted speedily because of political affiliation. No. The rules were clear that if you are a chartered accountant at the time, the minimum rank you have is a superintendent.
That's right.
Dr. Dampare became ASP at a very young age and chartered immediately. So he was skipped from ASP to superintendent.
He missed the DSP rank.
He missed the DSP rank. And that encouraged many people to begin to learn and go back to school. Because if academics can give you this fast promotion, why not? So he's gone through that to the point that he came back from London with his PhD, chief superintendent, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, and became GP2, and finally he shifted to GP1. He shouldn't be the one who will become IGP and people will be frustrated. No, he shouldn't be.
You have a new interior minister. We're going towards an election, and we can do a throwback and look at what role Mr. Henry Korte has played within the security architecture before. At the time when Ayawaso West were gone and, you know, all those issues happened, he was still lurking around with Brian Achampon, Mr. Kandapa and Ambrose Derry and all of that. Now he's the man in charge of internal security. What do you say?
Thank you very much. You know, when you are a spare driver, once in a while, when your boss is not there, you act a little. But the problem is, the day you are given the steering to drive all the passengers on board, I'm telling you, you become a different person. Whoever Honorable Harry Kote was, whoever he was in the past, his life will become different. Now he's the Minister of Interior,
Right.
in charge of the Ministry of Interior. It's a huge tax on his shoulders. The security, the internal security of this country rests with him. Policy direction rests with him. But he doesn't have any say when it comes to the operation and administration of all these agencies. All you can do is to issue an advice. But you can't micromanage the police.
That's on paper.
Yes, you can't micromanage
But then
the police.
in reality,
You cannot micromanage the police. You cannot micromanage the immigration service. You cannot micromanage the prison service. Neither can you micromanage the Ghana Fire Service. All you do at the ministerial level is to provide policy direction in line with your government vision. But the operational and administrative staff are handled by the heads of these various institutions.
right.
If on paper you cannot do it and you want to Nicodemously behind the scene use political power to subvert what the heads of institutions should be doing, you are creating chaos in silence, and it will reflect in the field. You know, there are very smart officers. Let me tell you something. People don't know. In those days, people think that when you go to school and you don't do well, then you go to soldier or you go to police.
Right.
Today, when you go in there, there are brains who are far better than many of the people who are out in uniform.
I agree. A lot of very well-educated
So
people.
when you become a minister of state, and you think that by virtue of your political position, you are smarter than anybody in uniform, you will be making a big mistake. The guys in there are very smart. And all they want is a minister who is law-abiding, a minister who believes in the Constitution, a minister who understands that, listen, you have lines that are cut out. At your policy level, we will inform you to take decisions on your policy level. But when it comes to operations and administration, it is our baby. Let's do it. If you think that we are going wrong, call us and give us advice.
Right.
And that is your job. And that is why the police council is there. That is why the council in charge of the armed forces is there, and that is why all the councils in charge of fire service, all of them, all these councils are politically heavy,
Right.
and that is why Dr. Agojo was coming from. When you have a politically heavy council, that is providing direct supervision of all these agencies, you don't talk about politicization again, because they are already political.
Right.
But the man in charge of affairs administratively and operationally does what is professionally right, and that is how come Ghana will remain peaceful before, during, and after election 2024.
Will we see you in Parliament next in 2025, next year?
Hello, the people of Wild West. I don't know many of those who are watching. The question is, will I be seen in Parliament in 2024? I have no idea. But I have agreed that I will go again. I've won my primaries. It is for the people of Wild West to decide. Do they want Peter Lanchene Toobu in Parliament again for the second time? They will take a decision. But I think that the pieces of information that I've gathered, they are excited to keep me there for some time.
They are.
Yes, until something changes. I think that in 2024, if we are still alive, inshallah,
2025,
we'll meet again.
Jabbar Isaiah has been literally pestering us on our Facebook live stream. He says, please ask the Honorable MP, when will the cow light and road be fixed? He says since independence, that area has never had lights and their road has been bad. Is that correct?
Thank you so much for this question. You know, we have Chef 5 electricity program for NDC in 2016. Varempere was supposed to be connected. Cow was supposed to be connected. Metal was supposed to be connected. Groom was supposed to be connected. When we left power in 2016, up to date as I speak, I have called the Minister of Energy before Parliament, and I asked him a question.
Right.
When will that Chef 5 project be completed for the people in Varempere to have electricity, for the people in Cow, Metal, and Groom to have electricity? He told me latest by Q1 2023.
Quarter one. January
2023.
to March 2023.
We are in now Q1 2024, 1 year behind schedule. And when I asked him again, the last time, he said, work is in progress. I called him and I said, some contractors have come, they are putting the wires in there, they've done this and that, but as today, as we speak, they still don't have electricity. I am praying that maybe they want to use it for politics, and maybe on the day of voting, on the 7th of December, all these lights will come on for the people to realize, oh, MPP is working and they'll vote for them. The people have suffered for 8 years. Something that they could have received in 2016. They have suffered for 8 years, and you are waiting to do it during elections so that they will vote for you. The people are smarter than that. But I'm praying, whenever they want to do it, they should get it done. But the people of Wild West want the electricity. The people of Wild West, 10 normal people, they are still waiting for the electricity. Darabayi, they are still waiting.
Okay.
Cow, they are still waiting. Metal, they are still waiting. Grumo, a very big town. And as I mentioned Grumo, I remember the Grumo chief, who is a very senior person in Ghana, and also a chief. He lost the wife yesterday.
Oh,
my condolences to him. I hope to be home with him to console him.
Right.
It's a disaster in the family. People are shattered. A very good woman. But that is life. We can't do anything about it. But I pray that in 2024, Grumo should be connected to the national grid.
Great.
Metal, cow should be connected to national. And I'll continue to pester the Minister of Energy. I'll continue to put pressure until these communities get electricity. We need more light. But I always said, if you know about rural electrification, you can't compare NDC to MPP.
Right.
Anytime NDC is in power, many rural areas are connected to the national grid.
I see.
For 7 years, almost 8 years now, there is not a single community in Wa West that is connected to electricity by the MPP administration.
I see.
And we were told that the first 18 months of the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, no village and no town in this country will have a water problem or a toilet problem. Unfortunately for me in Wa West, toilet that they began to construct, they have not been able to complete even a single toilet in almost 8 years. And that is a legacy, unfortunately, for the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. How do I believe this? How do I begin to think that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has some bit of credibility to even become the MPP presidential candidate? I was so surprised that they voted for him. But it is
you
good
were
for
surprised?
us. Yes. Where is the credibility for you want to lead Ghana? Excuse me. Leadership. Leadership, your vision should inspire. You see, Warren Buffett says something. I want to say this. If you are looking for a leader to provide direction for a country, 3 qualities. 1, integrity. 2, intelligence. And 3, energy. And he says that if you have somebody who is so intelligent and has a lot of energy and doesn't have integrity, that person is poison to society. Where is his integrity? You say it and you not do it. Today, $1 is equals about 13 Ghana cedis, and the fundamentals are not weak. $1 to 4 cedis, 20 pesos, the fundamentals were weak. At that time, national service people were receiving 559 Ghana cedis. That was $133 equivalent. Today, national service personnel are receiving 719 Ghana cedis, an equivalent of $57. People who were receiving $133, they are now dropped to $57. And you think that you have what it takes to still come and stand before the Ghanaian people and talk to us to vote for you? Listen, let's take this country seriously. People are smarter than this.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. You come across as a very principled, firm, and fair, disciplined individual, but pipe down a bit. What song do you want? What's your favorite artist? So we play the song for you as we wrap up.
Find something Lumba for me.
Daddy Lumba.
I'm a DL fan.
You're a DL fan.
Yes.
Which of his favorite? Do you have any in mind?
You see, I'm so biased. Anything DL is DL.
Anything DL is
just
DL.
drop any song and I'm fine.
We'll play DL.
DL, whatever. I use DL song to learn tree. That's it.
And a new routine to you. Your day no means say your day spoil. Just like a new bottle no means say the drink change. I'm talking about Malta Guinness. Ghana's favorite refreshment is now in a new clear plastic bottle with the same great tasting goodness, rich in B vitamins. Unlike the brown plastic bottles, this new Malta Guinness clear plastic bottle makes your recycling very possible, which is good for our environment as well. It's good for Ghana. Refresh today with Malta Guinness goodness, now in a clear plastic bottle. Malta Guinness, enjoy a world of good. This advert is FDA approved. Honorable.
So somebody just sent me a message. I'll say he's also a DL fan, but he's MPP. Okay. But he wants me to play a song. I think I agree with him.
So we should play
the
Honorable, we have to go, but we have a Gobe Festival on the 16th of March, 2024.